I broke his arm before he could respond. I was in a position to twist his wrist and I put my arm lock around his shoulders, and with full force I pulled, and there came a loud snap and his arm was dislocated. Even I was surprised where this energy had come from. Everyone was looking at me, some in awe, others in admiration. Whole office was gathered and finally someone called an ambulance so that the CEO of our company could be taken to hospital. After giving a statement to the police officer, our CEO was charged with harassment and misconduct, and after his recovery he'll be on the court trial. Before I tell you how all this happened, let me share you some background. I grew up in a very educated family. My father and mother both were high-profile professionals, and I was also pretty competitive from the very start. Be it sports, extracurricular activities, or even debates in my school, competing with all my friends. I was a pretty active child to begin with, and I loved to participate in school activities. I was also my class representative and topper. My career path was set from the very start, as I was a very hardworking student as well as pretty active in sports. My father, being an admiral in Navy, was also big inspiration to me. He always encouraged us siblings to learn martial arts and to participate in physical activities as much as we could. So we took no day off and were trained by Army Judo professionals. My elder brother was a black belt, while I had achieved my orange belt in 3 years. After I completed my graduation, I was also a pretty skillful black belt and a very active swimmer. Since I was an ambitious child, I decided to become a lawyer and serve my community by becoming an activist and fighting for poor people's rights. I was always a child who wanted to work on global issues. As I started preparing for my university, I was already studying law books and about the NGOs that were working pretty hard in supporting the poor and fighting for the cause. I also joined an NGO part-time so that I could learn the ins and outs of the community and how to serve them the best way possible. After that, in my entrance exams, I also started to volunteer for a local newspaper and to serve food whenever I got a chance in our local community. Just after a couple of weeks, I got my letters, and to my surprise, I had cleared all the examinations and was invited to enroll in all the top universities of my country. I chose Harvard Law Institute. Next couple of weeks were very exciting for me as I was preparing for my new life. I started university in the fall. I am busy preparing for my semester exams. I also applied to become a teacher assistant. To my delight, I was accepted. After my college hours, I used to join my law teacher in her NGO to work on all the legal papers that were required to help orphans. Days were flying pretty fast after I cleared my second year. This is when I met my husband. One day I was bored, so I decided to join a cooking class in a nearby restaurant. The chef there was very friendly. There I saw a familiar face upon inquiring. I came to know that he is our senior and was also doing law from the same university. We bonded instantly. He was the funniest guy in our class and also a distinction holder in our university. He used to make us laugh a lot, and sometime we became so close that we formally started to date. He had a beautiful smile and charming personality, and he was a very articulated person in his own domain. I used to wonder how lucky I am to have such nice people in my life. After getting to know each other for a month or so, we decided to get married. But only 6 months were left in my graduation, so we waited a little. After my exams, I not only passed with good grades, but to my surprise, was also now a gold medalist and topper in the whole university with distinction. My family and friends were so proud of me, and so was Alex. Right after my graduation, we decided to get married in a very exotic location, and we invited our whole family there. It was one of the best times of my life. After all the events, we both decided to move to one of the major cities so that we can find and work for the best firms of the country. Good luck was with us. We both got really good jobs at top firms and were designated to top positions. Our life was way busier than ever before, yet we enjoyed our Sundays together, mostly in parks or doing volunteer work together with orphans. We both were so excited to work for a cause that even on our holidays, we preferred to serve others, being really ambitious about our careers as we had invested a whole lot of time learning all the required skills to serve in the best possible way. After 6 months, we decided to go to an African state, Uganda, and help serve the community. We both were sponsored via a really big NGO, and we got good donations to arrange water conservation pumps for the locals. The satisfaction that a person gets by serving others is something that one cannot express in words and is something really beyond ourselves, and doing the act of selflessness is basically what we are built for. We stayed there for like 2 weeks and mixing up with their cultures and learning about local cuisines and local places. The friendliness of those people were one of the best memories that I had made in a really long time. It also made me more humble as a person and much more grateful towards life that we take for granted. Upon returning, as we had moved to the new city, a new chapter of our lives had also begun, and we were back to busy city life. My law firm was one of the most professional firms in the country, so we had to follow all the necessary protocols and work in a really professional manner. Within 6 months, I started to rank up pretty quickly, even though I was surprised that my hard work had finally started to pay off in the next couple of months. I finally had cleared up my student loans as well as the mortgages. Just after a year, I was pregnant with my first child, and we both were happy beyond any measures. So we arranged a family get-together. It was one of the most coziest moments of my life, as everyone near and dear to me was finally at our home. We were both excited to start the next phase of our life. It took 1 month off during the holidays from my office due to a very good track record. I was granted without any question, and now I was enjoying the mother phase of my life with my newborn baby and was so happy to have him in my life. After 1 month, as my health recovered, we hired a nanny to take care of our newborn so I could also come back to the office and start working again. Whole staff in the office welcomed me very warmly, and they were very happy to have me back. Since I was in the early months of my motherhood, I was given a different position to ease up my burden. And this time I was a personal assistant to one of our managing directors. I personally respected him very, very much since he had dedicated his whole life to our firm and was very skilled and super qualified. And I have seen him work tirelessly for hours on end and was not easily tired of working late nights. He was also a family man, having 3 kids and a very beautiful wife. We personally had met them at their home. Things started to change when I first saw his previous personal assistant Cynthia moving out of her office with the box of retirement. Sadly, she was fired. I tried to console her, yet she was quite upset. I clearly remember the only thing she said was to be aware of our chief. He's not the person you think he is. I was taken aback by what she was saying, but just because I wanted to comfort her, I went too long and said, better avoid him. While I didn't give her much of a thought, I started to work for him and I was pretty comfortable around him as he was a very friendly person. Then something happened that I had not anticipated, and it really took me by surprise just after a couple of weeks. Another woman who was fired was also in a really bad mental state. She was crying as she was collecting her documents. When I saw an opportunity to ask what actually was happening, she just said, "You should really avoid this person. He's a very dangerous person. I was taken aback because this was the second time it was happening and now it has started to make a pattern. But I was totally in the dark and was curious what really was going on with these girls and why they're so against our managing director. Well, long story short, this time I was kinda serious and wanted to investigate what really was going on. And when over a third member left, though she was very junior in rank, but she was very hesitant to meet him or go to his office, I got serious about this matter. Then came the day that was not expected at all while I was pretty late at the office and working for our new client. He became super friendly and wanted to have a conversation about his hobby, golf. Though I was not really interested yet, I went along them. Then something happened. He tried to put his hand on my left arm. I just stood up and left the room. This was something that never had happened before, and it took me a while to process it all. Now I was getting the picture about those women and why they kept quiet. The next day, when we were having a meeting, he did the same thing again as he tried to put his hand on my knee. This time I snapped his hand. He was kind of surprised because in his mind, he thought that every employee under him should follow him and agree to whatever he says. While everyone left the room, I was starting to wrap it up everything. And while I was collecting all the documents, the strange thing happened. I felt someone's hand behind my back. This made me furious. Without any thought given, my training and background in martial arts kicked in. I grabbed his hand and twisted his arm to really hard position. He was in agony. Before a second thought, I pulled his arm in a really strong position. Now our staff started to come into. Since I was in so much pain, he immediately accepted his doings and admitted to what he had been doing to last two women. You know, he was trying to take advantage of them, but he had no idea or clue what he had done this time. I just snapped his arm and dislocated the joint. I called a junior to call the police. This time I was determined to take all those previously women on record and to really put him on trial for what he had been doing. Now he would also be facing the hardest trial of his life and he'll be behind the bars for years to come. I'm so grateful for the training that I had when I was young. Every woman should take care of herself and should learn to defend herself. Martial arts not only gives you confidence in your ability to control your body, but also gives you a really good headspace so that you can speak for yourself and defend yourself if needed. My boss finally got what he deserved. Now he is in hospital, recovering while being charged by police, and so he'll be on trial for violating women's privacy, and I hope to see himself in jail for a really long time.